So wait a minute, you want to know what it takes to join an insurance agency? I mean, that's pretty easy. Let me show you. There's the one thing you need to know. You got a pulse? You're hired. Hey everybody, my name is David Duford. I own Duford Insurance Group. I'm a national insurance agency that recruits agents into the final expense Medicare and annuity markets, whether they want to sell over the phone or face-to-face. And if you'd like to learn more about my agency, go to davidduford.com/FAQ. The reason I'm putting this video together is it's most likely you're here because you're interested in getting an insurance sales job and you're wondering what the process is to give yourself the best chances of success. And as my little joke clip in the beginning describes, is the real nature of how the world of insurance recruiting and getting an insurance job works. And what I'm going to do is kind of expand upon that maybe surprising reality of why that's the case, and then give you some guidelines, and this is probably not what you're going to expect, on how to get the most out of this business as an insurance sales agent. And because of the nature of the way in which recruiting is done, how to avoid the landmines and make sure that you're working with the best agencies. It's going to give you the best chances of success. So again, the number one way to get an insurance job, to be 100% clear, is to just have a pulse, to fog a mirror. If you can do that, it's likely some agency somewhere is going to rush as quickly as possible to have you sign their documents to join their agency. So why is that the case? Why is it that in the insurance sales business, unlike other organizations or industries that have vetting and a process and multiple interviews to then possibly take you on, why is it that most agencies do the exact opposite? Well, the one thing you may be unfamiliar with the vast majority of cultures and agencies of insurance sales, is that most of them predominantly espouse a multi-level marketing type of culture. And if you know anything about multi-level marketing, the crux of MLM is mass recruiting. Really, anybody that's open-minded to an opportunity is a viable candidate to be recruited. And that same kind of culture or perspective permeates most of the insurance sales organizations out there, even the ones that you would think are kind of old and crusty and kind of traditional and formal. The same kind of rule generally perpetuates. And because of that, it's important to understand the mindset that you're going to have about getting a job selling insurance is going to be different, and how you approach that process is different from basically any other industry out there. So I'm going to give you some advice momentarily on what steps you can take to take initiative and make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance of success in finding a quality insurance sales job. But I want to talk about, before we get to that, some of the consequences to this methodology of mass recruiting anybody that has a pulse. Number one issue in this business, and if you haven't found this out, you're going to find out now, is that the vast majority of agents fail out of this business. Part of that reason, and there's several reasons why, but part of that reason is that everybody really can get into this as long as they have an insurance license. There's no four-year school degree. There's no prior experience necessary. It really doesn't matter where you come from. And likewise, why this makes this job a high failure rate also makes it kind of cool too, because you don't have to have pedigree, or you don't have to have good parents or good upbringing even. You don't have to have anything. As long as you have a hard work ethic and the skills or the mindset and the behaviors of success, and you're willing to work hard for a long time, there is a good opportunity for success in insurance sales. But likewise, because it's so easy to get into, it's so easy to fail. As I say, easy come, easy go. And because of this MLM type of perspective, many times these agencies, because they just recruit anybody and everybody, there's a very common occurrence of agents who are a mismatch to the culture of the agency. Because many times what the agent is told is what they want to hear. Oh, we have more leads than we know what to do with. Everybody wants to buy insurance. All you have to do is just ask them, and they'll throw their checkbooks at you. They'll hand their cash over and won't even ask questions. They present the business of selling insurance as it's something that it's easy, that anybody and everywhere is making loads of cash, and all it takes is just a little bit of tiny effort, and you too can be a millionaire. But unfortunately, this is just not the case. Just like everything in life, success is kind of rare as it stands, and the minority are the ones that make the most money, We call it the Pareto principle. The top 20% pull in 80% of the commissions, and insurance sales is no different if you really want an honest answer. And what happens because of that is that many times these organizations that recruit in these MLM capacities represent what they do differently than what they actually do. What they say is different from what they do, and many times people are just disgusted at what they thought was a sales opportunity turns into an MLM recruiting Kool-Aid drinking spree opportunity. And the training and the support they thought they were going to get never really manifests. So these are the problems, guys, getting into an insurance sales job that you got to be aware of. And I think the next logical question you should be asking is, well, how can I avoid all this crap? How can I get into an insurance sales job that actually is going to work for me and get me into a position to give me the best opportunity for success? So what I'm going to talk about at this point is a couple of points here. It looks like I've got like 3 or 4 here, something like that, of advice that I would give you as somebody who's run an insurance agency that recruits people across the country. Here's the kind of things you need to be thinking about as an insurance agent so that, yes, you can give yourself the best odds of success when it comes to having a successful career, but also finding an agency partner that's going to be in your best interest. And let me say this, too, before I get to the high points here of what you need to be looking for. The bottom line here, guys, is your agency partner matters. As a new insurance salesperson, you've got to work with an agency that truly is in your best interest. If you have some sort of misalignment in affinity, goals, culture, how you look at the world, how you look at the business, you're not going to have a good run at this business. And I believe the insurance business is one of the best businesses to be in the 2020s. But if you have the wrong partner on your side, it's going to be the worst business. So it's imperative that you take the guidance I'm about to give you and put it into action. It may make you feel uncomfortable, but because of the nature of this business, it's okay to ask these questions. It's okay to do your due diligence like I'm to describe, because you need to hold the feet of the recruiters to the fire and really see if they are panning out the way that they claim to. So pro tip number 1, it's not the agency that's doing the interview. It's you, the agent, that should be interviewing the agency. So again, this falls outside of the norm, but you should be qualifying, what we call in sales, qualifying to make sure that it's a good fit. The agency, because as I've described earlier, they're not going to do that. They're going to recruit you if you can fog a mirror, right? So you need to take some steps to slow down how fast things are moving to make sure what it is that you want out of the business is what they can deliver on. So what are some questions you should ask during the recruiting process to better get an idea if this agency actually is a good fit? And make sure you hang around, because there's one X factor here that really makes all the difference. And it's not really even based off of the questions or how they answer the questions. It's based off something else. I'll get to that at the end. So first of all, I recommend asking, why should I partner with you over other organizations? Really, why should I do business with you? Again, don't say this in an adversarial way, of course. Say it in a way that sounds truly intrigued of what is it that this agency is going to be doing for you. Again, one kind of way to think about this, even though you might be thinking of this as a job, this is really a business partnership in essence. So every business partnership, it's got to be a good deal for both people or both businesses. And likewise, you should be asking this question to see how the company responds, and if their response validates kind of why you should work with them and it's a good fit for you. Number 2 on the list here is, what makes you different from other agencies? Again, kind of an extension of the first question, but why is it somebody would want to come to work for you versus others? And here you want to hear substantive things. Guys, everybody thinks they're the best agency on the face of the planet. We have the best training, we have the best results, we have the best everything, blah, 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 blah. Like everybody and their mother says that. They should be able to provide substantive evidence to their claims. And if all they do is just basically say, I'm the best, right? Then come on, like that's an incomplete perspective. It's not telling the full truth. And you should, I would personally immediately like cast some level of cynicism and doubt on their claims if it's not backed up by, validated by some sort of truth. Number 3 on the list here is, how does your lead program work? Is it leads that I get for free? Do I pay for the leads? Do you require me to do cold calling, network marketing, etc.? There's a lot of different approaches to lead generation in this business, ladies and gentlemen, and you need to know up front what you're dealing with. I remember sitting down with a service that I was at the time, this is before insurance sales, I was looking to sell credit card services, and they said they had leads. I was like, cool, okay. So I was listening to them, and I realized in their presentation the leads were just like names of businesses. Well, that's not a lead. A lead is somebody's expressed interest, not just a name. And I immediately got off the webinar, and I was like, they lied to me, they deceived me. Why do I want to work for somebody like this? So you want to make sure to get and seek clarity on how they generate leads. And I'm not saying that cold calling is bad or network marketing or friends and family marketing is bad. You have to be comfortable with it. And there should be a level of complete transparency on how things work. That's how we do at the Ford Insurance Group. I tell everybody that joins my agency, you got to buy leads. You got to invest in leads if you're going to work with me. I don't do the friends and family approach. Others do, and they do well at it. And if you have affinity towards that, great. But to work with us, you got to buy leads. So there should be that kind of clarity in the recruiting process as you learn about this, and they should be able to tell you clearly what to expect. Tip number 4 here is, how do commissions work? Do I own my business? Am I vested? So these are things you may not be aware of, but as insurance agents, if you're an independent agent, especially if you're buying your own leads, you should own your book of business. That means that even if you leave the agency, you can still contact your clients and you still get paid off of the residual income that many of these products pay. If you don't own your business, if you're not vested means ownership, and you want to be, especially if you're paying for leads, I'd be a little concerned. Also, you want to ask how commissions work, because again, this is the point where, again, excuse me, not trying to be rude, but new agents are ignorant. They don't understand commissions and what is a good commission level, what's a bad commission level. You need to ask these questions and learn what it takes to advance. And then I would recommend that you compare those commission levels to the other organizations that are out there. If you don't, then you're only getting a one-sided belief, like, we have the highest level commissions. We go up to 145%. We have aggressive commissions. Like, that's what they say. But compared to what? What does that mean? And the only way you're going to get that is by asking and then comparing. And then obviously comparing the other aspects of the other agencies out there to make your mind up. Now, here's the X factor that I was talking about earlier. And it's not so much what they say. It does matter what they say for sure. But what also equivalently matters is how they react to your line of questioning. I can't tell you how many agents have come to me after interviewing with other organizations, and they're like, Dave, I asked these questions of these people. They clammed up. They got mad at me. They told me to bug off. They didn't want to tell me what I was asking, simple questions, just like I've described. And they completely were turned off by me asking these questions. And my response to that is, great. At least you found out sooner than later, after a bad marriage and things fell apart, that this wasn't a good fit. Because this is a business, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great business. And it's you making a decision to join an agency or join insurance sales business when you could be doing something else. You're taking a risk on yourself. You're risking your career. You're risking your income. With the odds of success stacked against you, let's face it, the vast majority of people in this business fail. And guys, if you're joining an organization that doesn't respect this, that won't take the time to listen to your concerns and your questions, and they scoff at it or react negatively, what does that tell you about the kind of relationship you're going to have when you're married to them, right? So if you hear this stuff, to me, this is an instant red flag turnoff that maybe the best thing here is to not even do business with them, period. Okay. So what's the conclusion here about getting an insurance sales job? The kind of takeaways I would give you here to wrap this up is, A, everybody is always hiring anybody at any chances of life, which is good on one level, but on the other level, it's not good because there's no qualification that most agencies have. So you can't always trust that the agencies recruiting you are doing it in your best interest. So therefore, you have to take initiative on you qualifying the agency, you qualifying the company you're looking to join to make sure it's a good fit for you. You need to ask and do your due diligence. You need to ask good questions. You need to get the questions answered. You need to see how they respond to those questions. And likewise, I didn't mention this as clearly as I'd like to earlier, but you got to make sure that you're talking to multiple agencies. Again, the best thing here, because you're the sought after resource, is to shop around and see what agency has the best offer for you. Don't just take the first thing that shows up without doing your due diligence and qualifying. Again, a lot of people fail out of this business because they jump in too soon and they didn't do the due diligence we've talked about today about getting an insurance sales job and making sure that's the right fit. So take the advice, hopefully, that I've given you today. I've been doing this since 2011, talked to thousands of agents. I have a pretty good idea of what a good organization looks like and how to find out if it is or it isn't. And these are just some very good basic approaches, fundamental approaches to making sure that you give yourself the best chances of success. Whether you work with my agency or any others, you need to find a good agency that's a good fit, because this business is absolutely wonderful. It's the best decision I ever made after failing out of my first business in personal training. And it's worth the time and the effort that I've described here, because you got to have every element of the business in your favor if you want to have long-term success. If you're interested in learning about DeFord Insurance Group, go to davidduford.com/FAQ. Read through that page. You'll see what steps to take if you like what you see, to then speak with me on a group and individual basis. Any comments or questions, leave them in the chat below. And as always, thanks for watching. See ya.